is Gothics, and you're watching right now. If you don't know who I am, allow me to introduce myself. I've been creating online content since 2018 and got my start streaming video games and doing other weird things over on Twitch.tv. Eventually, my channel grew in popularity and I was able to make streaming my full-time job. That was until everything came crashing down after experiencing cancel culture firsthand. Yes, contrary to unpopular belief, cancel culture does exist. This happened after Disney announced that actress Halle Bailey, a black woman, would replace the pale-skinned redhead named Ariel in the live-action Little Mermaid movie. Now, as someone who grew up watching The Little Mermaid, I wasn't too excited about this decision because whenever Hollywood forces representation, it's usually to make an ideological, social, or political statement rather than creating unique characters with good storylines. And I wasn't the only one that had opinions on this. In fact, many fans expressed their disappointment for the casting, but to my disgust, any of the criticism that came from white fans were met with accusations of racism. Huh? Yeah, that's not right. So I went to Twitter and made the unfortunate mistake of trying to reason with Twitter users by saying, hey, perhaps diluting the racist label over Disney's obvious cash grab isn't the best idea. Yes, I realize that I can't defeat bigotry in 280 characters, or whatever characters it is, but in any case, the response wasn't great. Hundreds of Twitter activists descended upon my tweet with the goal of teaching me a lesson for, according to them, having the wrong opinion. I was vilified as anti-black. My sponsors were pressured into dropping my contract, and anyone who associated with me were treated just as poorly. The harassment got so bad that I actually stopped creating content for a while and even contemplated returning to my previous customer service job. Eventually though, after some time and some therapy, I was able to start making content again, but not for very long because if you know anything about cancel culture, it's that once the mob has its eyes on you, it follows you everywhere. These people were livid that I didn't stop creating content, and their obsession with holding me accountable grew stronger. It got to the point where it seemed like every week some stranger would attempt to rile people up on social media about something I did or said. But the final straw was the unprovoked hostility that came for not subscribing to the Black Lives Matter Marxist agenda. This led me to start paying attention to how cancel culture operates, at which I started to notice certain patterns, dangerous patterns. And from my observations, cancel culture was never intended to bring positive change to society. Sure, it might be packaged that way, but it's a divisive practice that shames, suppresses, and mentally abuses anyone in its path under the guise of accountability and social justice. Just to be clear, this isn't to be confused with boycotting, which is the act of intentional abstention from supporting a place or a thing. Cancel culture, on the other hand, involves people, usually on the internet, acting as a collective to completely reject and stop supporting someone because they have said or did something that's offensive. And depending on who you are, this usually leads to prolonged harassment from the public, which ends up looking a lot more like bullying than accountability, but don't tell the mob I said that because self-reflection is very difficult for some people. We can see cancel culture happening right now on a much larger scale with the spread of political polarization. You can't even have an opinion on current events or exercise your right to vote for whoever you choose without fear of the mob coming after you. How did America the Free become America the Echo Chamber? What happened to the marketplace of ideas? And how did we get to the point where obvious forms of abuse is praised and oftentimes encouraged? These are questions that cancel culture enthusiasts kept avoiding, which eventually led me to start making socio-political commentary on YouTube. I wanted to help curb cancel culture by starting hard conversations and getting people to think critically. A lot of the times, online mobs form because of an emotional reaction from the public, and as some of you know, using emotion to make decisions doesn't tend to work very well. So thanks to Right Now, every week we'll be exploring various topics relating to cancel culture and looking at case studies to see what the long-term effects look like and what could have been done differently. My hope is that these videos will help show a different perspective to cancel culture, but also encourage people to be comfortable coexisting within the marketplace of ideas, even if you don't agree with them. So YouTube, I need your help. What are some topics relating to cancel culture that you'd like me to touch on? I've got some ideas in the